Taking a Break is brought to you by Banks Boats. This weekly segment, it's what ducks, dogs, and decoys is all about. It's part of the history and tradition of our sport. It's where it's come from and where it's headed. And that could be anything from decoy carvers, call makers, boat manufacturers. It's all the extras that I really enjoy about our sport. Let's check it out.
Jason, Otto, and I, my brother and I, we're directors in the Brant Foundation, and in Washington, though, you can't think of Brant without thinking of Maynard Axelson. He's kind of the Brant guy around here, and he's our president of our Washington Brant Foundation. So we're sitting with him today after visiting his aviaries. Hey, first off, Maynard, you've been around Brant your whole life. What got you started loving Brant?
Well, I just happen to think Brant are a pretty unique situation. If you really get into the science behind it, the biology, they're a lot different than most other waterfowl, whereas most other ones have changed their habits in recent times or changed their food sources or where they go. Brant haven't. They're just a real traditional type of a bird that does the same thing, goes the same places, use the same food sources they have for thousands of years, and they just won't change their ways. And it's kind of like, if you're collecting antiques or decoys, you want something in the original condition.
Yeah.
Well, Brant are in the original condition.
One of the things we have out here, like I said, the Washington Brant Foundation, Jason and I joined I think it's been about 4 years. We came on about a year or two after. When did it start, and how'd that get going?
Well, Ben Welton and I got together one day in July, and I think it was 2000, and I'd just come back from Alaska banding Brant, and I was kind of pumped up, and I thought that if there could be a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and a Pheasants Forever and a Ducks Unlimited, that there ought to be something for Brant, because they were just so unique in my mind. And it's just there again. Everybody even talks like they were going to go duck hunting or goose hunting or Brant hunting. The Brant were always separate. They're always kind of unique and always by themselves. And so I thought it was just a species that's been overlooked as far as conservation and different things. They're only on both coasts. They're kind of low profile. A lot of people don't even know what they look like. And just they had all this tradition with the natives going back thousands of years, and the decoy carvers, the hunters, the painters, everything. It's just they were always kind of in a class by themselves. And so I thought that somebody ought to pay more attention to this and make it a little more higher profile than it has been, and just things like that.
We just came out of the aviary, and I noticed not everybody realizes there's actually 3 kind of Brant in North America. Maybe give a brief description of the 3. People think of the Atlantic Brant and the East Coast. A lot of people don't even realize we have a separate one on the Pacific Coast.
Sure, yeah, and there again, hardly anybody knows what a Brant is, let alone what the 3 types are.
Exactly.
So, and the one on the East Coast is probably a little more well publicized, and I think it's partially because they've been hunted longer. They've had more decoy carvings back there and stuff, and then those Brant are also noted for going inland once in a while. They've had the problems with eelgrass dying off back there. Probably back 50 years ago was the first time, and since then the Brant have come ashore and fed on Long Island, fed on golf courses, and fed on football fields and different things, kind of like they've gone to in Europe also. And out here on the West Coast, it's a lot of different situation. It's more of the original state as far as the habitat and the biology and the ecosystem. And we have mostly Pacific black Brant. There's about 100,000 of those in the Pacific Flyway, and then we have also a high Arctic gray belly Brant, which is a lot rarer bird, and there's only about 10,000 or less of those, and they nest in the extreme high Arctic up over northern Canada in the Perry Islands, Melville and Prince Patrick and those areas.
Well, unless you got anything else to add, Maynard, thanks a lot. Thanks for letting us in on your aviaries.
Oh, thank you for coming and bringing special guests. I really enjoy that. And
having the Pit Boss crew out here from the East Coast.
Yeah.
That's one of their passions, is the Atlantic Brant, for them to see all 3 together. And
well, see there, we got something in common, and to hear about people like that for several years and then finally get the chance to meet them, it's a real pleasure. And there again, without the Brant Foundation and you guys, well, they wouldn't be here today. So that's just what I'm talking about. I really enjoy the whole thing. And
That was Taking a Break, sponsored by our good friends from Banks Boats. Break's over. Let's get back to the hunt.